Okay, so the goal for today is very, very simple. We do have our little box here. I mean, it's not little, but it's the box, the pantry box. So it's a box where we just throw in like some dry ingredients or, things that don't have to be refrigerated. We don't really, as you can see, keep it very tidy. And from time to time, it goes a little crazy and yeah, we need to do a little tidy up. So that's what we're gonna do today. Haven't been to the store in a couple of days, so basically what we're gonna see is what we can cook with our with our pantry stuff. So we're gonna tidy up a little bit and hopefully either come up with some stuff to cook today or we are going to like see some ingredients, think about how they can be the center of a meal or like a little side to a meal. And again, you don't always have to start with like a full recipe as an idea. Sometimes it's just okay to kind of prepare, um, you know, to like just prepare some stuff and then figure out how to put them together at a later point. Oh my God, why do I look so shiny? Oh, probably it's the light. I don't know. Let's see. Yes, way better. I'm not that shiny anymore. That's cool. Okie dokie. So let's see. I've already pulled out, because the box was very, very full. So I already pulled out a ton of rice noodles and some sushi rice and some udon noodles and some spaghettis out of the box. But yeah, let's see what we have here. This is some herbs that my mom grew in our garden. So that's something that I use quite a lot. So here, we have some red rice. We have some almonds. Because Danny uses a lot of them. Wow, look at that. So nice when they fit in. Awesome. That goes on the shelf. I'm seeing quite a lot of lentils, quite a lot of bulgur. One is a kind of, I don't know if it's a whole, I think it's pretty much a whole bulgur. And bulgur is a type of wheat. It's essentially wheat. Uh, and it could be cooked. It looks a little bit like rice. I don't know if you can see. It's like, oh, okay, I don't know if you can see, but you could cook it and you could use it pretty much as a side dish or the way you would use rice or um, yeah, it's just basically a main carb as a side dish or just add it to stuff to kind of thicken or to soups or whatever. It is pretty versatile and I think it's very understated. I think people don't use it enough and it's a really great ingredient. It's super easy to make or to cook. Okay, we still have a lot of lentils, a lot of red lentils to be um, more precise. So I think we will make a lentil soup. It's super easy. You barely need anything except lentils, and it's gonna be delicious. It's a Arabic style or like a North African style soup. I know Syrians make it like this. I think Tunisian style is very, very close. I've tasted something very, very similar in the Middle East, in Dubai. I know Lebanon uses makes something very, very similar, and I'll show you my way. I think it's the closest to like the Syrian recipe. but it's gonna be super easy and it's gonna be delicious and it's gonna be super easy. So yeah, I said this already, so but it's gonna be good. So we're gonna make some lentil soup. Um, rice, more rice. I'm pretty sure this is yes, these are dried mushrooms. So maybe we can I don't know. We'll see, but perhaps we can hydrate them and make them with rice. I guess it's important to mention that we don't really eat much meat in this house. I would say almost not at all. Danny's vegetarian. I'm not, but I don't really care too much for meat. So most of the things that we cook is vegetarian or vegan. Um, so just an FYI. We have some quinoa. We have a ton of quinoa, which is like very surprising to me because quinoa is definitely a little bit of more of the expensive things. We don't really buy this too often, and I guess we buy it and then we don't use it because it just feels so decadent. But maybe we can do something with it. I always get like really excited of just like going into the pantry and seeing what we can do with what we have. And I do love like keeping a good pantry, and there are like some ingredients that I just like that I keep. And even if I don't know what I want to do, I just go ahead and you know make something up. And yeah, and I don't really think that you need to be a chef to do that. So I'll show you how I kind of think and how I go about it, and hopefully you can. Um, it's really terrible that the lamp keeps going on and off, and it's too bright or too dark. Okay, what do we have here? We have couscous, organic couscous. What else do we have? Let's keep going through. More couscous. Oh, that's a full package. Oh, look at this. It's like been very nicely uh, I guess, vacuum packed. So now it's a little, like a little block of couscous. What do we have here? Sesame seeds, a lot of them. Super high in calcium, super good. If you do think you have a calcium deficiency or something like this, or you're pregnant or whatever, sesame seed tahini, super nice. It's very good. Not many people know that, but sometimes depending on the amount of vitamin D that you have in your body, um, calcium from milk and dairy is not easily absorbed into the body, while calcium from sesame seeds is almost like it's very well absorbed. So this is a really great way of getting extra calcium, especially if you're in a case of um, making another human skeleton inside of you. So that's kind of a cool way of adding some calcium in general. Hi, hey, you want to be in the stream? Yes, yes. You want to be in the stream? You want to tell people your name? What's your name? Little white boots? Mr. White Boots? Moose? Mr. Moose? Little mustache? Tommy? What's up, guy? What's up? Oh, oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? You wanna go? Okay, okay. Do what you please. um. So yes, sesame seeds. Tofu. We have a couple of vacuum packed tofu. It's not the hardest tofu on the planet, but it's pretty good. So I do personally prefer hard tofu because the soft one always seems a little spongy and always seems, which is good if you want to marinate it. Um, and but hard tofu seems to be um, definitely easier to. Yeah, it's just easier to fry, easier to cook. It's easier for stir fries. And I think if you are the kind of person that don't necessarily want to marinate, but you would, oh, sorry, Mia, I mean, you spot. If you're more the kind of person that wants to just use something as like the way you would use meat, just chop it and just put it in, add some spices, and then stir fry. Hard tofu is the way to go. Soft tofu, I think it's more for stews, and it's just easier um, to kind of marinate, but it also requires a little bit more planning. But you can also get a lot out of flavors or a lot out of it by flavoring it really, really nice. So some basic kind of non-flavored. Hi Mia. Hi mommy. What's up? Hmm. Okay. The little black guy that you saw, that's her son. Has two more, but I'll show you later. So continuing, we have some tiny pasta. Um, Here in they call it soup horns. It is a like little curved tube pasta, super super nice for soups, but I also like it just for cooking or just making like a quick pasta because it's way smaller than what you would use normally, and it is super nice to just very very quickly um, boil and kind of be ready. So, okay, green lentils, super nice, or also for stew. Green lentils, ooh, okay. Super, super good for stew. We do make a particular type of stew, funny enough, using the herb that I showed you, that my mom gave me. It's super delicious. It's a very, very nice source of carbs. In terms of vegetarian protein, very, very good. I am not 100% sure, but it might be that lentils is a full protein kind of vegetarian source, meaning that it has all the essential amino acids to build all the proteins in your body. Um, but if not, I'm pretty sure it is very, very decent in terms of protein content. Of course, as every vegetarian source, it doesn't have as much protein as you would expect in eggs or chicken or beef or meat in general. But it is pretty for within the realm of like vegetarian or vegan source of protein, beans and legumes, which lentils is part of, is a very, very nice source of this. Again, it is mostly carbs, um, but it is definitely something that you can eat either as a stew or as a soup or as a side dish, as I said, next to a protein. And you could also make it like basically just boil it and use it in salads, just to give a little more substance to a regular kind of green salad. So I do love lentils. As you can see, I do have shit ton of what was, but yes, I do have like a shit ton of lentils. I love it, and I use them in all kind of ways. So we'll see how we're gonna use it today. Huh. Talking about lentils and legumes and whatever. Look at this, some more red lentils. So we're definitely making lentils today. Oh, maybe we can do like oh, maybe we can do a what's up? Maybe we can do a trio of oh baby. I think you just want attention, if you ask me. All I want for Christmas is attention. You like your mama? Just want attention. In the meantime, we're just gonna put the oven on and we're gonna have because we are cooking or like dehydrating. These have not been blended yet, but we are making our sustainable laundry detergent made of conkers or uh, chestnuts. Chestnuts is the word I was looking for. Um, Okie dokie, some more pasta. Guess what? Some more lentils, some more mushrooms, dehydrated mushrooms, super nice. Trumpets, dehydrated trumpets, good stuff. What is here? More beans. Okay, that's nice. Hmm. All right. Wow, I do have a lot of lentils. More lentils. I'm like a lentil queen. Just for fun of it, let's count the packets open or not of lentils that I have. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. We have 9 packets of lentils, so definitely different type of lentils. In my defense, different type of lentils. So cool. This will clean up later. Um, but what we're gonna do now, super easy. We're gonna throw in. These look like they could be from the same family. Maybe we can make something together. So I think what we're gonna do, because I can't really come up with a dish, or at least not right now. I think what we could do, we could have a little lentils party. We'll make some lentil soup. We do have some quite a lot of quinoa, and I think we're gonna boil some quinoa just like this. The good thing about it is you can just put it in a box and just add it to almost anything that you eat. As I said, either as a side dish and just add something. You can put it into stir fries. You can add it to salads. It's super delicious, super good for you. Quinoa. See, about this, I'm sure. Quinoa is a complete protein source, meaning it contains all the 9 essential amino acids that is required for you to build a protein within your body. So quinoa is definitely a complete protein source. We're gonna keep dehydrating the stuff in the oven. We're gonna throw in a lentil soup, which will be a very nice meal. I'll show you how to make this. Super nice and easy. We will boil some quinoa and perhaps hydrate some of those super nice mushrooms. And I'm pretty sure that they are actually quite posh. These are trumpets. I think one of them is chandelier. And um, and I think I don't know. I have to smell those to tell you, but we'll probably hydrate some of the mushrooms, and we'll kickstart. I don't have risotto rice, but we can just do rice with mushrooms in one way or another. We'll see. I also have a great vegan, beef flavored bouillon kind of business that I acquired yesterday that I want to try. So maybe we can try and just make some rice with mushrooms and kind of try to emulate the decadent deliciousness of a risotto. It doesn't have to be a creamy, it's fine. But yeah, dried mushrooms a really great way of like having, I would say, very expensive mushrooms available to you, so you can feel a little posh, you can feel a little sexy, you can feel a little uh, like a um, like a chef, like a pro chef. It's a really really good way of kind of keeping mushrooms. They could feel very expensive when you're buying them, but just know that because of the dehydration, in terms of weight, they will be very, very expensive, but you wouldn't need that many. Another good way of doing, if you do have the freezer space, it is very nice to go and see in your supermarket whether you have a frozen mushrooms, like a really nice mix of like a little bit more kind of the fancier mushrooms, the ones that have a little more flavor. Of course, you can always go like champignon or like the very basic kind of mushrooms that are almost always sold fresh into to most supermarkets. But these are also a lot of them are manure grown mushrooms. They're very easy to grow. They do grow essentially on poop, animal poop most often, I think. Um, they're very, very easy to grow. They're very fast to grow, which makes them a really great. Okay, again, the lights are off. Which makes them a really, really good way of cooking. Um, it's just a story of nutrition essentially. But the thing is that because they grow so fast, they cannot really develop any complex flavor profile. So think of them as your like the bread and butter of mushrooms. But as essential as bread and butter is, kind of in the cuisine, you also do want something a little bit more interesting, something that has a little bit more bedazzle, jazz, or whatever. Anyway, let's stop yapping around and let's start cooking. Look at this little mess here. Um, oh, yeah. Oh, let's turn the camera a little bit so you guys can see me. Yeah, it's just cool. Good shit. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna wash the lentils, the red lentils, very very nicely. The reason why we're washing the red lentils really really well, unless you have a very sensitive stomach, it is good to rinse your legumes because of all the flavonoids that are naturally produced by legumes, meaning lentils and beans. So they can make your stomach quite gassy, especially if you're not used to it. But if you are mostly or Sharon, like the way we are, your digestive system does get used to it. So the more you eat legumes and or like lentils and beans, the less you'll have to be thorough in washing them or even cooking them in one water, then throwing away the water where all the farty compounds are, and then do it again. So yeah, but with the lentils, what is special about the lentils? So red lentils is not anything special. As you can see, some even call it split lentils because what it is, it's basically just a regular lentil that is essentially peeled off. So the skin is removed, which means that a lot of those flavonoids are exposed because it is essentially the flesh or the meat or the inside of the lentil, and they do come up very very quickly. So what we're gonna do? Mhm. I should be fine. Yeah. So what we're gonna do? We're just gonna put it in a little sieve, and we're just gonna give it a very very nice rinse. And it's probably also nice to also probably nice to it's not folded. Gonna use this. Yes, perfect. This is about a cup, a big cup, but roughly. I don't ever measure. I just kind of eyeball things, but you'll see. So here we have Yeah, two empty packets. So we're just gonna rinse it. One thing that we can do, and I'll show you. Um, Sadly, you can't really see because the camera is a little far away, but the water that comes out is very kind of milky, creamy, kind of foamy, and this is exactly what we want to wash off. So what we will do is just save it on the floor. It's just to wash it and let it soak in over the pot that you're gonna essentially, and you can you can just mix it, or you can also get it between your hands and kind of rub it. And you will see the water coming out a little, mm, like, I don't know if you can see, but let's see if we can show how milky the water is. And you do want it a little cleaner. And the thing is that not that anything bad will happen if you don't rinse it better. But the thing is that as it cooks, it's gonna start foaming up, and yeah, the foam will start coming out of the pot, which is a little bit annoying, I have to say. So you don't necessarily want to have like a perfectly clean water behind when you're cleaning up, but as you can see, it's already getting a little bit cleaner and better. So one more time, as I say, one more round for the cheap seats in the back. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Yes, look at it. Look at this. It's already way, way, way cleaner. You can definitely see the bottom of the pot. So what do we do now? We just add some water to it. I like to run the water on top the other way. So it just both you rinse your your strain so you don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of clean, and you add a little bit of water to your lentil. Um, what I like to do, I like to do maybe it's like you have to measure, but about like two to three fingers to cover the lentils. 2 to 3 fingers, kind of you know, with water, and then just put it to cook, and you'll see what we're gonna add in a second. Put it at a max so it starts boiling, and when we bring it to the boil, then we can also yeah, reduce it and let it simmer. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean a little bit, because if my former head chef sees me with all this mess, they'll behead me. And it is, I'm so bad at it, but it is such a good practice to just clean after yourself. It's okay. It allows you to do more with your space. Uh, and yeah, it's just a good practice. So clean as you go. We have 2 more packets of red lentils that we can use another time. Um, I have to figure out what to do with the sesame seeds. Um, we have some couscous. Maybe I can come up with something. We have a lot of couscous, a lot of tofu, bulgur and lentils. It's a very nice recipe that my mom makes with bulgur and lentils. Maybe we can, if it's not too much lentils by the end of it, by the end of this, we can make some bulgur and lentils. Super, super easy. Hmm. This is buckwheat flour or rice. Um, you could also hear it, people call it buckwheat polenta. Um, it slightly jellifies. Like, I don't know how to say, but it kind of sets very nicely and absorbs liquid very, very good. So what my mom used to make, and I love this, it's just so reminiscent of my childhood, and it's just so kind of just reminds me of when I was a little kid. But my mom would just make this with milk, like the way you would make rice with milk or like any kind of rice pudding. So instead of rice, you would put this, of course, way less than you would put rice because it absorbs a lot more water, and then just make like a sweetened pudding out of it, and it's so delicious. And it does have a little bit of texture. I wouldn't call it grainy. I wouldn't call it grainy, but it does have a little bit of texture, and it is just so delicious and so kind of soft. It's like a sweet milky porridge kind of thing. And if you are into these kind of little baby textures or whatever, and again, you know what? Baby food is delicious. And maybe it's not spiced very well, but it's delicious and it's so nice and it's so healthy and it's good for you. So eating like a baby, it's not always a bad thing. So don't dare shame me for wanting to eat like a little baby. Alrighty, a lot more lentils, a lot more bulgur. Maybe we're gonna put this together, so we something out of it. Cool. I think what we're gonna do, we're just gonna boil some quinoa. Hmm. Should we boil white quinoa? Should we do colored quinoa? Or like when it's, I don't know. Mia, which one? Let's move the camera so you can be a star, Mia. Which one, Mia? This one? The white one? Mia said white. We're cooking white. So with the quinoa, even easier than with the lentil. Ooh, make this. Oh, look at this. We have a little treasure in the quinoa. Look at this. A little fusilli pasta into the quinoa. Hmm? Little treasure hunt. Oh, I didn't rinse the. Mm, I didn't rinse the. Or I cleaned this, but same business for about how much? Again, a cup or something. I know some people don't boil quinoa, but they more like just steep it. Mia, get down. So there are a couple of ways you can cook quinoa. It doesn't foam up as much as legumes do. It doesn't not like lentils and beans would. So what you can do with quinoa, you can either steep it, meaning just pour hot water and kind of close the pot, and you just wait for it to kind of absorb the water and um, yeah, and then essentially be cooked. There you go. This is what we were talking about, how it foams very nicely. When it's time to reduce the heat significantly, we're gonna put a spoon on top. Okay. As you can, I don't know if you can see, but I think we'll have to reconsider our camera positioning for the next one. But our lentils really boiled over, and it wasn't exactly the water that boiled over, as this like steam, like this foam that I mentioned before, um, that boiled off. And let me just show you. Um, This is the kind of foam that you get on top. It almost looks like egg whites. Funny enough, you could use flavonoid water or like water in beans from bean cans or chickpea cans to actually do like vegan whites. Basically, you use this and you just beat it with sugar the way you would do egg whites, and then you can do vegan meringue. So it's exactly this compound. But what we're going to do now, we're just going to reduce the heat and let it um, simmer a little bit. And hopefully the absorber or the kind of the suction thing is not too loud so you can still hear me. So coming back to the quinoa, you can either kind of steep it, as we said, which is a technique which, as I said, basically means pouring boiling water on top of it and just letting it absorb the water, and that should be more than enough to get it to cook. But you can also boil it, and you can also boil it like pasta, meaning in a lot of water. Or you can just boil it on a stove with just a little bit of water, maybe like cover it a finger deep. So then you boil it with a little bit of water, and then when the water boils, you just turn off the heat, and then you just put a lid on, and you let it absorb um, the extra water. As I said, you could boil it as pasta, that is for sure. But the thing is that again, I don't have any scientific knowledge to back this up, but it's just common sense. Like a lot of the things that you want inside of the quinoa would be essentially dissolved in the water, and you throw away the water and you just keep I don't know. I'm thinking, unless it makes you gassy or it's bad for you or whatever, why throw away the water in which you're boiling the vegetables? A lot of the minerals and a lot of the good stuff are actually dissolved in the water. So you don't want to just boil it and just throw it away. This is why you should steam rather than boil your vegetables. So that way the heat cooks them, goes through them and cooks them while keeping everything in instead of just making a broth out of your vegetables and then tossing it away. Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe while I'm yapping, I can make some little pasta for a snacky. Um, and you'll see how I make pasta. So now that the lentil is, so we're gonna get some water going for my little pasta, um, a little pasta business, a little pasta snack. You know, one thing that is very, very, very important. This not you. One thing that is very, very important for when cooking is to always have snacks. It is very inhumane to get someone to cook without simultaneously feeding them. And we don't work in inhumane conditions. So tiny bit of pasta here. I think there's like some more fusilli, so we'll put it away. Green lentils come here. A little quinoa, oh, mixed up with a lot of other small garbage will actually go into the bin. I don't know why I put this in because I will not wash it. It is organic and perfect. And we're just gonna put it to boil with a little bit of water. Okay, I'm quickly running out of pots, but our quinoa, again, I don't know why I put it in a sieve. Makes sense. As you can see, just a little bit of water. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in this. And I'm just gonna put it on medium heat. Um, oh, our cold water here. I'll put some salt in this for our pasta. Perfect. And we'll measure this because we will change the stream to pantry cooking on the fly. Awesome. I mean, we are dehydrating our conkers or chestnuts detergent in the oven. Don't be alarmed that I'm putting my hand in the oven. It is only 50 degrees. We're dehydrating at 50 degrees, so it is not, and nothing bad will happen if you put your hand in. It is kind of nice and warm, but don't do that. Don't do that. That's just me. In general, good advice is do not put your hand in the oven. And the all-time truth, if you are afraid of the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Anyway, so for the lentils, hmm, here we have just a little bit of leftover vegeta, which is just like loose bouillon. You can use a bouillon cube. You can use liquid bouillon. You can, yeah, whatever is your broth bouillon kind of preference. Liquid, loose, dry, cube, homemade, very good, or frozen, anything goes. I prefer vegetable. I just think the flavor goes better, but I guess you could try any other you fancy. Oh wow, and the lentils is almost cooked. Mmm, so good. So I don't really think that this was enough in terms of bouillon. So I will get another cube. Mm, I'll probably use half a cube if I didn't, or I'll still use one cube if I didn't use the baguette, but I feel extra generous today. So full cube, it goes. Can always crunch it, crush it a little bit, but you don't really because anyway, it's gonna dissolve. So as long as you stir well, that should be fine. So we washed the lentils, we boiled it, we added some vegeta, cube, vegetable, bouillon, whatever you fancy. We need a little bit of flavoring. So now we're going to start the actual seasoning a bit, or like what will really bring the flavor and what will make it like Mediterranean and kind of North African in um not Mediterranean, North African. I don't think the Mediterranean does this type of soup. So I take that back. North African, Arabic North African type of lentils. So what we're going to add? We're going to add cumin. We're going to add garlic. We're going to add olive oil. And we're going to add lemon juice. Kind of in that order. So added our bouillon cube. And now we're going to add cumin. I could add a recipe, but I guess like about a spoon, like a heaped spoon, or like as my grandma used to love to say, a pregnant teaspoon. Pregnant because it's like pregnant, a little bit pregnant, not third trimester. halfway through the pregnancy, kind of teaspoon of cumin should be fine. Should What you're looking for is you're looking for after you stir it to have this like cumin smell. And this is how I always cooked it. I don't really feel recipe like I don't really follow a recipe because I don't ever really measure these kind of things, but roughly just checking on my cooking. You just roughly want to add, in this case, cumin until it smells nice. And what smells nice to you, it is up to you. So if you like a very lightly scented food, this is totally cool. And if you like a more richly and deeply scented food, just add more. It's not like it's exact science. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Cumin. I love cumin. One of my favorite spices. And look at that, like we're having like this like little lovely mess over here. So just to show you, see, a little bit pregnant, not much. Stir it. Um, Again, how thick you want your soup, this is up to you. Um, some people like it a little thinner. I personally like it a little bit more on the side of a stew. So it is completely up to you how you like it. But to this one, we'll add a little bit more water because it does need to cook a little bit more and it's getting pretty thick or like it's really losing a lot of water. When you're cooking, you always have to consider how you regulate the evaporation of water. So if you're trying to reduce something, or also, so to say, reduce the volume of it, reduce the water out of it. You always want to keep it. You want to have something with big enough surface, like a pan, or like a deep pan, or like a really big pot. And you want to always keep it open. So you want the steam coming out, reducing the water volume. If you want to maintain the water content within what you're cooking, you almost always want to keep the lid on. So, of course, the water stays in and the steam cycles in, and the heat from that steam continues cooking what you kind of what you have in your cooking vessel, essentially. So, consider this when you're cooking. In this case, I think we can add a little bit more water because we will have to be cooking it a little extra time and adding some more things. And I don't want the water to have to put the lid on, so a lot of water will evaporate. And that's okay. We're not losing any flavor, so half a tiny cup, half a scrotum cup um, of water. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, my water for my pasta is boiling because we need to make a snacky. Mm. 103 grams of apple dry. Almost always when you put things into a some kind of a food tracker, um, whether this is my fitness pal or macrofactor, what we are using, I'm pretty sure that those kind of apps always ask you for the dry or like uncooked weight of stuff. Um, so pasta goes in. It is already lightly salted. Gonna stir it a little bit just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. We can try our lentils soup. let me just show you how it looks by now. As you can see, the orangeness of the lentils have kind of gone a little bit more into yellow, um, golden yellow. As you can see, this is the kind of thickness we're looking into. It smells really nice. It smells exactly the way I want it to. Like it has a hint of cumin. It's aromatic. Is fragrant. Is warm. It's cozy. It's a really bad weather today, so I just feel like I want some soup. So it is kind of ready. As you can see, the lentils is cooked. I don't even need to taste it to know it's cooked. As you can see, it's almost falling apart. Red lentils or peeled or split lentils, however you want to call it, cooks much faster exactly because we're missing the shell of the lentil. Therefore, if you are looking for a quicker version or a quicker option of cooking lentils, split lentils is the way to go because it does cook much faster. So we are going to taste. Mm, mm. You know, I take what I said back. It could be cooked a little bit more. It is cooked and you can definitely eat it the way it is, but I like it to really feel like it's melting in your mouth. So it's like really, really very, very well cooked. In terms of flavor, we're looking at, just salt and kind of general yumminess from the bouillon. And in terms of fragrance, we already felt it. We're looking at like a certain level of fragrance that is pleasing to you. So just do that. It's delicious, but we will boil it a little more because we really want it to be nice and soft and just have this cozy, crumbly texture in your mouth. The quinoa is almost boiled or like almost at a boil. So what I am thinking is that I will turn this off, put the lid on, and let it steep. Hmm. Just wait for now. But yeah, it is always great to have a um decent pantry and just think of stuff that you feel are things that you like to eat or like have at home. Like as you saw, we have a lot of beans, a lot of lentils, some tofu, a lot of rice, some dry fruit, of course, your usual some nuts, some seeds, um, some oats, flour, sugar, honey, and of course, a ton of spices. And the thing is that once when you start cooking enough, you can always find ways to put those together, or like a recipe, or kind of wing it a little bit. Um, and again, people do underestimate overestimate how much knowledge you need. You don't need to be a professional chef. You don't need to, be able to make recipes on the fly. It's sometimes it's just all about just putting yummy things together, and you don't even have to make it into one coherent dish. You can just eat a little bit of this with a little bit of that, maybe a little bit of cooked quinoa with like a little bit of your favorite spice, and then have some lentils on the side. And I have to say that a lot of cultures, and especially, Middle Eastern, Asian cultures, and I would even say Mediterranean or like Southern, like European, I think it's very typical to just eat a bunch of small dishes. And they don't have to be elaborate. They could be just things that you like to eat that are lightly seasoned or just seasoned with your favorite spices. Get some pickles, get some sauces, get some, things that you like to top your dishes with, and voila, you can have like really diverse and kind of healthy eating without necessarily making any very elaborate, dishes or meals. So it is something to consider. Oh, welcome to our new viewer. Oh, so to catch up, to continue our lentil soup here, our see the like I added half a cup of water and it's already like almost evaporated. So I could put a lid on, but again, I'm a little afraid that it's gonna foam up and yeah. So I'll rather keep adding water to this than um you know than just put a lid on because lentils and legumes just do tend to so to say boil up and fizz up. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna prepare the rest. So we washed the lentils, we boiled it, we added bouillon, we added a cube of bouillon, some vegeta, we added some cumin. I will definitely, if you care, I will put a recipe somewhere. So do let me know if you want the actual recipe for this. And I'll try to put it together. But we're gonna add the olive oil, garlic, and lemon juice. Very, very important to something to add. When you're boiling things, especially legumes, beans, green beans, also beans. But very often when you're boiling legumes and you can't boil them, that's not the case with a red lentil soup, but when you can't boil them, one thing that you can do is make the environment, in this case, the water in which you boil them, more alkaline. How do you do that? You do this by adding a little bit of baking soda. And I'm not talking about like putting like a ton of baking soda. I'm talking literally, as they say, on the tip of a knife, or like a pinch, or and I don't mean like a three-finger pinch. I mean like a two-finger pinch. You grab a little bit of, and then you just put it in. If you put too much, whatever you cook will taste of baking soda, which is not a cute flavor to have in your meals. But even a pinch of soda can increase the basically can make the environment or the water in which you're cooking a little bit more alkaline, and that helps legumes and it just general just basically, I don't want to go too technical, but basically the proteins that hold things together tightly, the ones that kind of give structural integrity of the cells of the product to kind of break down more easily. And that could be the collagen between the muscle cells in meat, or that could be, the fibers or light goes off. The fibers of in general vegetables or like vegetarian food sources. So if you want to boil something, just add a little bit of baking soda instead of pinch, and that will make the environment a little bit more alkaline and will help things to boil fast. If you want to stop something of cooking, or you want to really prevent this, what do you think you do? Well, you have to do the opposite. So if baking soda adds more, there you go, a little chemistry lesson. But if baking soda adds, makes the environment in which you're cooking a little bit more alkaline, what the opposite would be is to make the environment a little bit more acidic. And you can do this by adding any type of cooking acid, essentially. Cooking acids are, let's see if you can figure it out together with me. We have, of course, our all the vinegars. So any type of vinegar you can think of, white vinegar, red vinegar, balsamic vinegar, even though balsamic vinegar is quite high in sugar. So, but again, we're talking about the acidic component of them. So any type of vinegars, any type of citrus acid, that would work. So lemon, definitely. Lime, definitely. Even some more acidic and more sour oranges would do that in specific cases. But just think about it like in terms of acidity. Another thing that people don't think about that contains a lot of acid is tomatoes. So if you are making something, and I do make a very, very lovely, my pasta's ready. Drink water. Mm. Oh, look at this. Yum, 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 yum. You can cool it down a little bit. Cool it down a little bit to prevent the cooking to continue. Hey, my lovely viewers, I just want to remind you, if you are not following, you should follow because I do have a lot of knowledge to drop on you in future videos. So if you like what you see, just you can follow, you can catch me on Instagram. Um, yeah, that's it. So I'll tell you something about pasta, but we'll turn off the oven. The quinoa is steeping. This is nice, and our um, lentil keeps cooking, and we'll taste to see how far it is. So much better now. I think I would love a little bit more, so I would like a little bit more water to it, a little bit more, and we will, as I said, another half scrotum cup of water. So as we were talking about, something is not cooking or like not boiling, it's usually in a sauce or in water. It doesn't work that well in like drier dishes, but a little bit of make the environment a little bit more alkaline. You kind of speed up the cooking process because the soda, a more alkaline environment um, makes things kind of break down the cellular walls of our collagen or fibers faster. You want to prevent something, or you're going to say, okay, now the thing that I'm cooking is exactly at the kind of readiness that I wanted. A way to actually stop and prevent it of cooking is adding acid. As we said, um, that could be vinegars, that could be any kind of citrus, that could be citric acid, that could be powder, that could be, as we said, lemon, lime, whatever it is, including tomatoes. So very, very often I make this like French bean, kind of the long green bean stew that I make, and I make it with tomato sauce. So it's a little bit like a bolognese, but with beans instead of meat. So very often, I would not add the tomatoes until the beans are cooked to the level that I think it's good. Because as soon as you put the acidity, as soon as you change the pH of whatever you're cooking to acidic or to more acidic, you immediately stop the cooking. And then it doesn't matter. You can boil it for hours, you can boil it for days, and it will not cook. So, um, it is super, super important to just and to not add any acidity before whatever you're cooking is kind of to the level that you want it. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I wanted the lentils that we were cooking, the split red lentils, to be a little bit more cooked. I wanted it to really, really kind of break in your mouth, to be a really very, very tender, very soft. And they've been cooked or like good to eat for some time, but I really wanted it to be very, very kind of like melt in your mouth kind of texture, really crumbly. So I let it cook a little more. We do have to add lemon to the recipe. And of course, if I have added lemon a little bit earlier, that would have stopped the cooking, and I could have been adding buckets and buckets of water, and I could have been boiling it for days on end, and it will still be a little hard, a little crunchy, and it will just not cook any further. So I hope that was a useful information. Just reflect a little bit on things that you cook. I always think that knowing a little bit of the chemistry of cooking, a little bit of the principles that stand behind cooking are really, really helpful. So that then you can get out of the person that just follows a recipe like blindly, like a sheep, and you just go like, which is totally fine. Don't get me wrong. We've all started somewhere. It's totally fine to just read your recipe and just go, oh, first 20 grams of this, 5 grams of that. And this is super, super useful. But I do think it's an essential skill to understand the chemistry and the general underlying principles behind cooking. And that will make you a more independent chef. You will be able to start adding your own creativity when you know what type of actions and what type of ingredients that you're adding do what and what is going on as you're cooking. So hope this is helpful. Um, and we're gonna go back to the pizza and perhaps make another coffee. So pasta. Pasta is we can talk days on end about pasta. But what I wanted to say here, and I think it's interesting, very, very often when you want to nail a particular texture in pasta, you have to think of what you're going to do with it. And again, here we're talking about underlining principles in kind of general logic in cooking, and this is what professional chefs know. I wouldn't say that they don't want to share it with you, but it's just a lot of theory. I don't think everybody really cares about all that theory. But I'm a sucker for underlying principles and theory together with practice. So I will share this with you. So as you're cooking pasta, you have to really consider what you're going to be doing with it. Would you top it up with sauce? Would you store it and use it for another day, which you can totally do? Are you gonna cook it more in pasta? And why am I telling you this? Depending on, do you want your pasta al dente or not? How cooked do you want your pasta? So you have to consider that. Let's say you're preparing pasta and you want to cook it another day. Then you're gonna always cook it a little bit less than you would if you're gonna eat it immediately. Why is that? Because as the pasta cools down, some of this residual heat will start coming out of it, and that will continue cooking the pasta. Number two, as you are reheating your pasta the day after to either cook it into your meal or you want it as a side dish or for whatever reason, but you're reheating the pasta. That reheating, whether in a microwave or on a pan or in the oven or however you reheat your pasta, will definitely also introduce more heat into it, which will continue the cooking. So if you cook your pasta perfectly soft and delicious the way you like it, and it's not even al dente, um, it's just very well cooked the way I've cooked this one because I'm going to eat it immediately. Um, you know, you would end up with like mushy texture, which is not delicious, and it's definitely not a proper way of eating pasta. So if you do want to save your pasta for another day, what you're gonna do, you're gonna cook it a little bit less, or you're gonna have it a little more crunchy, a little bit harder than you would normally do. You would cool it down in running water the way I did. So you help this residual heat escape and not sit inside and keep cooking the portion of the pasta. Because think about it, in whatever container you put it, only the outside of the pasta will really kind of drop that heat. And the inside, or like the core or the most of the pasta, will still be pretty warm and pretty hot. And that portion will keep cooking, even if you put it in a fridge. So you want to run it a little bit under running water. That would also remove a little bit of the extra starch. It will make it not so sticky to each other. Another way to make it not stick is to add like a spoon, okay, depending on how much pasta you have, but like a little bit of oil. It can be olive oil, it can be sunflower oil or rapeseed oil or whatever kind of. Sorry, it's just the light is kind of goes off. You can have any kind of, you can, yeah, add any kind of oil and like mix it really nicely so that the oil coats the pasta, and then you can store it in the fridge, and that will make it very very easy to scoop. It will not stick to each other, it will not be overcooked, it would have cooled down almost to the level that you wanted, and then the day after when you want to finish it or cook it or to your pasta sauce or whatever you're adding it to, then you can basically like finish cooking it. And I have to say that this is one of the things that I've learned a lot in a professional kitchen. It is that very, very often, I mean, prep is king in professional kitchens. And when you, um, and very, very often you would not cook things a la minute, and definitely not things like pasta, like rice. If you need them as prep food, you would always cook them beforehand, and you will have some prep rice, some prep pasta in advance for your a la carte, or basically for the a la minute on the spot cooking. A la carte is just regular service where people come in and just order whatever whatever they want from the menu, and you kind of have to cook it immediately. So this is super important for professional kitchens. And one thing I've always learned is that you always cook it that much undercooked, or that much under the level of readiness and kind of that you would like to eat it, with the idea that you are cooking it, you're cooling it. Even through the cooling process, there's still the residual heat coming out, which will keep cooking the rice, pasta, whatever you're cooking, potatoes. And then knowing that you most likely reheat it, or like reheat it and keep cooking it with other ingredients, will add additional heat, and then will continue the cooking process. And if you don't undercook it beforehand, you will end up, the end product that you'll have the day after or whatever you're cooking it will definitely be overcooked if you don't take the heating and reheating in consideration. And I just want to show you how creamy this looks now. Just by stirring it, you can see like how it almost changed texture, and it smells delicious. It is so fragrant. I love it. Just to be 100% sure, okay, this is heat resistant, but oh, it's like, oh my God, it's so delicious. Mmm. Oh, it melts in your mouth. It's not too salty. Mmm. So good. So now that it is to the level that we want it, we can add some lemon juice. How much lemon juice we should add, you may ask. And I really want to teach you and tell you of like how you should consume, like, or how should you should think about cooking. And again, all the information that I'm sharing, I just want you to really, really, really be or become a more independent and more emancipated, more, yeah, kind of chef or cook or whatever. Um, so how much lemon juice? So the lentils normally have a very earthy flavor. We added a little bit of more complexity through the bouillon and all the kind of vegetables that are in a bouillon or in a stock, in a vegetable stock, whatever, as we said, we added. So that gives a little bit more diversity to the flavor profile of the lentils. Then we added cumin, which is, while cumin does not add much flavor per se, it adds a lot of aroma. Cumin is a very ground cumin, that is, um, adds a lot of aroma, so it makes it extremely fragrant. What lemon juice will do in this case, and remember, we are adding it only and only when the lentil is cooked to the level that we want it, otherwise it will stop the cooking. Um, the lemon juice will bring a certain level of freshness, and it kind of just elevates the dish. So it almost kind of lifts it you still have the fragrance from the cumin, you still have the complexity from the bouillon and kind of the earthiness, the backbone, the kind of the kind of main full body flavor of the lentils, but the acid will really kind of bring it up, would really elevate it, and would really kind of make it a little bit more, and in a way, it makes it more elegant. So just to kind of answer the question of like how much lemon juice, I would say to this pot, probably about a tablespoon would be okay. But just to kind of depending on what you're making, because you could be making just like a tiny like two bowl portion just for yourself or like lunch and dinner or for you and your partner or significant other, or just you're very very hungry and you want to eat two portions in one meal. You could be making a very small portion, and that's fine. And in order to decide, or a very big portion, because you have a very big family and a lot of friends, not like me, but you know, you should be able to adjust a recipe based on your taste. So what I want you to do, I want you to add just a little bit and then stir it, taste it. And you should be looking for this like elevation, this like freshness that the acidity will bring to the dish. And then you're gonna add a little bit more. It should not be sour. So it should not be sour, but it should taste fresh. So just add just a little bit. And remember, with cooking, as with alcohol and other things in life, it is very, very easy to keep adding, but it's a little tough to take away if you add too much. So always be a little bit on the more cautious side, and just yeah, just think about the fact that you can always add more. So start little and then add a little bit more. And yeah, as I said, just look for that freshness, for that elevation that the acidity will give. It is really great to use freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm kind of cheap, um, so I just use. I think this is actually real lemon juice, but it's from concentrate. So use whatever you have. It's okay, as long as you don't use citric acid, which is you still can use it. It's very cheap. It kind of stores very nicely, which is also okay if you don't have to dissolve a little citric acid in a little bit of water, do a little like citric potion if that's what you have. If you have fresh lemons, organic lemons, nice, good for you. Don't forget to use the skin as well for something. It's very, very good for baking. So don't waste the skins of the lemons if you're using fresh lemons. But this is a very, very good option. So that's what we're going to use today. And I'm going to start with about a spoon, and I'm going to stir it. Mm, does make a difference. Oh, even one spoon of lemon juice makes a really, really big difference to the general profile. And if you are working in a professional kitchen, you wouldn't be using the same spoon to taste and dip again. You're gonna wash your spoon. I'm cooking for myself, so I can have this, I guess, reasonably low level of hygiene. But you wouldn't do this if you're cooking for other people and not just for yourself. So always don't double dip. Mm. Hmm. It's definitely a little more, but I think we're gonna do one more spoon. So as I said, 2 teaspoons, or roughly a little bit less than or I don't know. Yeah, you can argue whether a tablespoon in terms of liquid volume is 2 or 3 teaspoons, but roughly, as I said, you have to taste it. And again, it's all about taste and it's all about flavor. And you know what they say about taste? It is personal. So you like it, you have it like this. You don't like it, hopefully you do. But if you don't like it, throw it away. Oh, like like 2 spoons really make a difference. Oh my God, it's so good. I think I can have another squeeze because I'm a savage that way, but it's perfect. And a little tip, if you're not really quite sure if adding more of something will change the flavor profile of what you're cooking, just take a little ladle, take a couple of spoons in a separate place, add whatever you want to add, basically have a small sample of what you're cooking, add whatever kind of, I don't know, salt, sauce, spice, whatever you want to add, do it to this small portion, see how it reacts to the flavor profile, see what it is, what it does to it. And if you like it, just do it to the whole pot. And if not, and it's just disgusting and terrible, you just throw away the small portion that you separated anyway. So you're not wasteful and you don't have to end up eating something that tastes really weird just because you messed up the whole thing. So always take a little sample if you're not quite sure. Coffee. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but do you guys find this helpful, useful? Do you like me sharing tips, or like general principles of cooking? Or I don't know, do you want me to just get on with a recipe and just stop blabbing? I mean, do let me know. I would like to know. So now, coming back to my little snack pasta, because I'm getting quite hungry. I mean, we've been doing this for some time now. It would have been significantly faster if I wasn't trying to drop so much knowledge on you guys. So a little horn pasta here. It's nice and cooled. Maybe I should have added the butter to it. So I'm gonna add roughly half of this. This is like 106 grams. Um, Sadly, we don't really have regular butter, so I'm just gonna use some spreadable butter. I'm gonna do like about, like, I don't know, that much, and just gonna add it. I should probably just not blab that much and just, add my butter so it will melt into the pasta. So you don't have to add butter to it, but it just makes it that much more decadent. It's like, adding fat to carbs, it's always delicious. Like if you think about it, put butter on bread, suddenly more delicious. Add, um, hmm, I don't know. I can't think of another good widely spread example, but reflect on it. Carbs and fat pizza. Carbs and fat work so good together. So this is a little bit for the soul. Um, and it would have been nice if the pasta hadn't gotten cold, but I think it's warm enough that it will still melt this little piece of butter over here. And what I'm gonna do on top of this is just add a little bit of cheese, and this is kind of my snack. Mm, it's a super, super fast meal. Very, very simple. I like feta type of cheese, white cheese. It's very delicious. So to this is a little bit much, I think. But yeah, see, around 45 grams of cheese. Okay, 54 should be fine. So around 50 grams of dried pasta cooked. Mm, licking your fingers is definitely something you don't do in professional kitchens. Just saying. So I can drop some pro knowledge on you, but definitely don't look at my habits because I've been out of the biz for some time, and I wouldn't say that I've lost my habits, but I mean, I don't have to be that, precise and adamant about, you know, um, I guess the level of hygiene you would keep when cooking for other people, especially when you're cooking for yourself. I check our. Oh, this is very good. This is exactly the kind of dryness that we want. So, a little note. We have been. I've been making detergent from Conkers. Here is like the larger pieces that you've been watching for like an hour by now. But yeah, now I think there's like dehydrated to the correct level. We've been keeping it and like mixing it around a little bit in an oven for a few hours at 50 degrees. So I think this is kind of right, and that could be now dry stored for um, I think a really long time actually. And we're going to use this for our sustainable laundry detergent. And you do let me know if you would like me to tell you more about it. Super easy to make. It's probably still the season to collect conkers or chestnuts. So yeah, you should try one. Read about it. It's contains a something called sapioid, sapioid, like soap, like a naturally similar to soap, naturally occurring compound in conkers, and yeah, it's supposed to be very, very good for as a laundry detergent. Never tried it before, but I guess no time like the present. Keep it a little longer in there. Um, and mm, this is very, very good. Very plain, very simple. Just cheese and pasta, essentially. A little bit of butter. It's really delicious. No, and the butter piece has melted. So it was warm enough. Hmm. Okay, Houston, I think we have a problem. Um, we are lacking garlic. Oh no, Houston, we do not have a problem. We do have garlic. It's just was in a different place. So I have my coffee, I have my snacky pasta, and I think we are spilling over time. Mm, Gandalf is coming here. I'm sorry I'm eating with my mouth full. Talking with my mouth full. Yeah, Gandalf. Mm, this is the biggest baby you've ever met. Hi, Gandalf. This is Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Grey. He's all the Gandalfs and none of the Gandalfs. And everybody and no one. And he's a big baby. Don't you just want to be cuddled with no one? Oh, baby. Believe it or not, we actually bought for him like a little baby sling, and he does enjoy it sometimes. But he just want to be cuddled. And he's a big baby. He's a 6 kilo cat. Oh, oh, monkey. Little baby. Mm, Get down. Okay. Mr. Gandalf, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're gonna finish off the soup, and we're gonna wrap for today because that did stretch quite significantly. Welcome to our new viewer if you're catching in. So just a quick recap. We've cooked our red lentil soup. We added bouillon. We let it cook all the way through. We added some cumin to make it like really, really fragrant. And then we added some lemon juice to kind of just elevate the entire dish a little bit. Now it feels not acidic, not sour, but like just a little more fresh and a little bit more elevated. Um, in terms of thickness, as I said, you can make it as thick or as thin as you absolutely wish. You can also blend it, but right now I'm kind of feeling this texture and feeling this. If you do blend it, it's going to be very, very nice and smooth and creamy, even without adding, any cream or any dairy. Um, Lentil, like red lentil, split lentils is like this in a way. It does make this like very, very creamy texture. Do let me know in the comment if you would like me to blend it right now. I could do this, but I'm living right now for this a little bit more rustic texture, so to say. Oh, it's still quite warm. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish it off with some olive oil and some garlic. And the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna take 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, um, uh, and we're gonna crush the garlic. You can slice the garlic. You can keep the whole cloves of garlic in. It's up to you, depending on how much you like garlic. I love garlic, so I will definitely keep the garlic in. But if you don't like garlic, you can just infuse the oil with garlic and then just remove it. So therefore, if you just want to infuse your oil with garlic, it is probably better to either have it in large slices, you can just slice it, chop it, or whatever, or just keep the whole clove in. That would make it easy to remove. So essentially what we want to do to finish off our soup is infuse the oil with the garlic. How do we infuse oil with anything? So what you want to do is you want to have your oil cold. Um, you want to have your oil cold and you want to have whatever you want to infuse in it, whether if it's spices, in this case garlic, in it as it's cold. And then you want to slowly heat it up. The heating process will allow all the kind of essential oils or all the kind of fat soluble substances to kind of slowly be absorbed and pulled into the oil or the fat essentially that you are infusing. Um, and just fragrant, like kind of make it fragrant and kind of pull in some of those compounds into the olive oil in this case, or into the fat. This is very, very important for, as I said, a lot of fat soluble kind of substances, a lot of essential oils are also oily, so they do really benefit of like being slowly heated up in fat. That could be butter, that could be ghee, that could be any type of vegetable oil. It could be lard, it could be whatever it is. For this recipe, we're gonna use olive oil. One thing that you do not want to do, which is very, very key, is you don't want to heat your oil and then put whatever you want in it because it's gonna like fry. The heat will be too aggressive, it will be too hot, and it's just gonna kind of burn the exterior of whatever you are frying, which is definitely a technique that is extremely viable for a lot of type of fast cooking. Is deep frying is essentially this. You want to heat up the oil and then you want to put whatever you're deep frying in a very hot oil, so then it cooks just the outside very, very quickly and creates this like delicious crust that we all love in like deep fry foods. But when you're trying to infuse something, it is important that you start with cold fat or cold oil, so you allow the heat to slowly build up, and all these like essential aromas and all the fat soluble compounds that you want to extract from whatever you're infusing your oil with to kind of seep in through the oil and give this like amazing aroma and kind of flavor to it. So this is very, very important. Um, So yeah, technology or like I guess this is a lot about food technology, but it's just trying to drop some general principle of cooking on you. So then next time when you're cooking and you can't remember how was it supposed to be done, you can ask your question, am I trying to deep fry it? Am I trying to just stir fry it? Am I trying to infuse it? What I'm trying to achieve. Therefore, you can make a very educated guess or point blank make a educated decision on what is the best way of proceeding in terms of procedure, in terms of technology, in terms of way of cooking. So enough blabbing. It's not the best garlic. It's a little dried out, so we're gonna do a little bit extra. And I love garlic, so I always like this a little bit more fragrant. And again, don't be afraid because when you're adding, just give me a second, we're having some cat drama on the side. Just a second. Continue. Give space. Go away, garlic. The little kittens, Mia's little kittens are very sensitive to the large cats, Gandalf and Zoe, essentially. But coming back to the garlic, you shouldn't be really afraid of your garlic here because essentially you're cooking it and when cooking it and especially this case slowly cooking it you will very much change the flavor profile, so you get from this sharp kind of musty umami kind of sharp spicy aroma and flavor of raw garlic, and it will really kind of all this garlic is actually very very high in sugars, so as you slowly cook it it really caramelizes and it changes the flavor profile. It reduces this kind of sharp um sharp almost spicy flavor that garlic has, and it really makes it like more full, more round, more full bodied, sweeter, and of course the aroma really comes through, so you shouldn't be afraid of using more garlic than you would um, raw when you're cooking. So that's how much garlic we're gonna use. So what we're gonna do here, and I'm very, very sorry for the mess, but I promise I'll be better. So we're using extra virgin olive oil. You cannot use regular olive oil. I love Kalamata olive oil because Kalamatas are my favorite olives. And I'm a little snobby like this, but you can use whatever olive oil you like and you have. Don't use your best olive oil because yeah, you're gonna be cooking with it and you want to use your best, most refined, most like high quality olive oil just for topping and for seasoning and not necessarily for cooking. I think it's a little wasteful, and while it's very decadent and very fancy, I wouldn't do this at home. It's too posh. So it's up to you, but I wouldn't do that. So I know it could look like a lot of olive oil that we have here. It's probably 2 tablespoons, maybe two and a half, three. It's because if you think about it, we have literally no fat in our soup and in our cooking. And what fat does to flavor, it kind of gives that roundness and that richness. So very often when somebody tells you that something is taste rich, it usually means it's fatty. It's not necessarily a bad thing because fat kind of coats our mouth, fat coats our palate, and make everything kind of taste a little smoother, a little silkier, and yeah, it just makes it a little more rich and feels a little more decadent, which in food is kind of good. So think about I'm just going to talk about the flavor profile and we're going to finish this one off quickly. So we have the lentils, which is like very earthy, very kind of full bodied, but also kind of plain on its own flavor. I just want to say that the aroma of the olive oil is hitting me a bit. Um, so you do have like your lentils, very, very earthy. The cumin doesn't taste much, but it's like very aromatic, it's very fragrant. The bouillon cube will give like this more complex vegetable flavor that really kind of makes the whole thing a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more like multidimensional. So we have this like good base body of flavor profile. Then we added the aroma. Then we added the citrus or the acid, the lemon juice, that kind of just made everything a little bit fresher, elevated things. And now we're going to add some fat to it. That will give this roundness and this silkiness, this like richness and like this decadent flavor. And the garlic is just the aroma that would just make everything really pop. So, as I said, because I would keep the oil, the garlic in, and you don't have to. Again, if you don't want to, just put the whole cloves or just roughly chop it so you can easily remove the garlic. But I do like the garlic in because I love garlic. You can just crush it like this, like the way I am right now. This garlic is a little more fibrous than, or I still like to say fibrocious, than I would have enjoyed. So we're not going to keep squeezing all of it. We will just have about that much. Because again, sometimes when garlic stays in for a long time and matures a lot, it gets a little fibrous or fibrocious, which sounds way more luxe than fibrous. Um, so then you don't necessarily want to use all of it. Ooh, ooh. So like not this. So we have a little extra garlic here, but won't be that much. Um, Garlic. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of slowly let this oil heat up until the garlic starts getting golden and crusty on the edges, like the little pieces kind of smashed here, get a little golden, and then we're gonna just pour it out. If you are to remove the garlic, sorry, pour it into the lentils. And if you are to remove the garlic, just make sure you remove your garlic pieces before you pour your infused oil into the lentils. So we're gonna put it into a medium heat. Here I'm gonna put it into a 5 out of 9. I'm gonna use a soft spoon or like a spatula that is not that will not scratch my pan. I do this um, mistake very often of just yeah, just scratching my Teflon pans with metal spoons. So don't do that. So now all we're gonna do, we're gonna be like just stirring a little bit the the garlic again. As the oil heats up, you will have to be stirring a little bit more vigorously, but at the beginning it's totally fine. So we can use some of the time to actually tidy up a little bit. Clean up the excess garlic. I should plant some garlic so we can have fresh garlic in our little pot garden outside of the house. I think that would be very cool. So maybe we should buy some extra garlic and plant some over the winter and have some spring garlic. But I think first we need to pull out the features that should be ready anytime soon. And I also have to figure out what to do with those beans. They don't make them beats like they used to. They don't make them beats. If you don't know that song, you should check it out. Totally Hall, them beats, together with RuPaul, a little iconic dance song. But yes, they don't make them beats, and I would make them beats. Something interesting. I haven't thought about it yet. All right, I can definitely say that the oil is kind of starting to heat up because you can definitely smell the garlic and you can definitely feel that good, delicious garlic scent. This pasta will go into a box, and perhaps you will heat it up again. I should probably cooked it a little bit less because now it's perfectly cooked, and I worry that when we heat it up, it's going to get a little mushy. But yeah, as we mentioned, this is why you should consider what you're going to do with your carbs, pasta, potatoes, rice. What you're going to do with them before you decide how far you want to cook them. And I hope that now that they're almost cold, I wouldn't need to add oil. And I think they are pretty nicely segmented, so they wouldn't stick to each other. But if you are putting them hot and warm into a container, you should probably have like a tiny drizzle of oil or olive oil and just stir it up. And that would act as a lubricator, so your pasta doesn't stick to each other. And if this one sticks, well, I'll take the consequences of my poor decision making. Oh, like I wish you were here because the aroma of this is getting amazing. Another way that you can tell that I can't really show you because I don't think that the camera can give us that kind of level of definition. But one thing that you can definitely see oil heating up, especially if you're infusing something in it, is you're going to start seeing little bubbles. And what is this? This is essentially vapor or water coming out of whatever you're cooking in oil. And it comes out as a teeny tiny bubble that kind of comes to the surface and then bursts, and it's just vapor. But if you start seeing tiny bubbles, this is usually the water leaving the product that you're cooking in oil. Again, that being rapid cooking in deep fryer, stir frying, pan frying, or infusing, like what we are doing right now. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see, but can you see? I don't know. I hope you can see a lot of little bubbles coming out. Um, just to make sure that we infuse it very nice, I'm gonna just keep moving the garlic around. Start having, oh, oh my God, that smell is so good. I'm just such a sucker for garlic and oil. Oh my God. Oh, our quinoa is very nicely steep. Very nice. Maybe I can add a little bit of more water and let it kind of boiling water and let it cook a little bit more. I guess I like my quinoa. Or no, I'm just not going to do the same mistake of like what I've been preaching for. I'm going to leave it a little undercooked. I'm going to cool it down and then figure out what I want to do with it and then finish that cooking process. See, it's important to learn from your mistakes. Now we can also hear things going on with our oil, garlic oil. Oh, oh, oh my God, it's just so exciting. The garlic is still white which means that the temperature is not high enough yet for it to start kind of getting golden. And this is a very good way that you can know how hot your oil is without using a thermometer. So what we're going to add to the mixture right now is a cat, because that's what you do. One very, very important ingredient when you cook is always to have a cat. This is Mr. Ash. Oh, 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 okay. I'll come on. Yes, good boy. Ah, look at you. You're so strong. You're so emancipated. So yeah, always add cat to cooking when possible. Okay, our garlic is now very, very rapidly bubbling. We should definitely reconsider the camera setup. Our garlic is very rapidly boiling, and you can start seeing how the color of the smaller pieces of garlic start to change color from milky white to kind of yellow, goldeny, and this is exactly where you should start really keeping an eye on it. Mm. And the aroma is to die for. Mm. If I didn't like explaining and giving like so much like little additional knowledge into the recipes, I could totally see doing like ASMR recipes because it's just so wholesome and so delicious and nice to just listen. And I wish you could smell what I was cooking as well. It's a great. Now it's like really rapidly bubbling, which means that we have definitely reached a temperature in which water is rapidly leaving the garlic, which means that it will be less boiling, meaning less steam coming out of it, less yeah. And then when the garlic dries out because enough water has escaped it through the heating process, then it's gonna start frying. And this is definitely something to consider when frying in general, is that how much water whatever you're frying has. Because the water will start escaping in terms of vapor or steam. It will start escaping the product you're frying. And depending on whether you want to do a rapid fry or an infusion or pan fry, like a shallow fry, which is more what we're doing here. We're doing like an infusion plus a shallow fry by the end of it. Then you do want to wait for some of the water to escape, so then you can like really crisp it up and have it like nice and crunchy and goldeny. If you just wanted to infuse your oil, now would be the time when you're gonna um, it's probably, the oil has probably pulled out all the essential oil. So now would be a nice time to kind of throw the garlic away, but we are keeping it. And I do like it a little bit more fried because it just gets like really delicious and sweet and golden and crunchy. And I love it. So yeah, look at this. I don't know if you can see, but now you're starting to see some of this like really nice golden color. So you're gonna keep this for like maybe a minute more, because now we have about 50% of the garlic being like white and milky, and we want it more like golden and crunchy. But the color is beautiful, and I really think that it just works so well also with the color of the lentils. We have like this yellow and orange, and then the olive oil is a little bit like green in hue, and then the garlic gets golden, and it just makes such a nice visual ensemble as well. And looks in food are also very important. We do eat with our eyes, so it's important that things look nice as well as they taste delicious. Okay, I think we are kind of there. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna and just listen for that sound. Yes, we have a little bit of the, I hope you could hear this. We have like the little sizzling of the hot oil coming into it. We want to pour all the garlic. This will go into the sink. Gonna stir it a little bit. Oh yes, you can definitely see like the oil and the garlic just kind of add a little bit extra color to it all. I don't know if you can see, but it changed to a little bit deeper yellow. So nice. And now the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Smells divine. Mm. Oh, I know everybody says that when you have a cooking show and everything, and everybody goes, like, amazing. But it tastes super good. As I said, the lentils are earthy and kind of give you like a full body experience. And then the oil really kind of makes this creaminess and kind of this roundness in your mouth, which makes it just like so smooth and silky. The You still can taste the lemon juice, which kind of elevates and makes everything fresh and pops a little bit. And just the the bouillon or like all the vegetable stock that we added kind of really makes it a little bit more interesting, but it's more in the background. And of course, the cumin kind of coming straight into your face. It's just like very fragrant, very Middle Eastern, very kind of, at least to me, a little bit like exotic and just yeah, just very interesting. And then of course garlic is just delicious, and this like mustiness, this umami flavor that garlic adds. It's just so I think this is all for today. I really appreciate you for tuning in. If you really like that video, I think you should subscribe, like, bell notifications, join Twitch, join my streams, follow me on Instagram, and all that kind of stuff, or whatever you fancy. Comment, let me know what you like. I hope you learned something out of it. It is very cool. I really enjoy doing these, and I really appreciate you again for joining me today. That's all. I hope you loved the red lentil soup. Let me know if you make it. It's delicious. I'm gonna go have lunch now. I hope wherever you are, you're safe, you're blessed, you are fed. If not, go make some soup. And that's pretty much it. Signing off for now. Love you all. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.